Hello there, my name is Ben Walker and today I'm working with Promise Yourself to talk to you about some of the things we're just not taught at school. So these can be anything from mortgages to buying a house, renting a house, taxes, debts, all the stuff that we really do need to learn about. And today I'm talking about credit scores. Now a credit score is essentially a summary of your credit history put into a number. So it takes into account things like your credit history, obviously, loan repayments, whether you missed a payment, and there's so many different factors that goes into making your credit score. They're all put together to generate your score. Now, obviously, the higher your credit score, the better, the lower, the worse. Now, if you do have a low credit score, it's fine. Don't panic. There are ways for you to build that up slightly. And if you already have a good one, obviously, just keep trying to keep that nice and good because it's just better. Now, your credit score is really important because it can actually affect your future in the fact like how much you're able to borrow from lenders. So if you have a good credit score, you'll be seen as a safer investment normally. So theoretically, you should benefit from maybe slightly lower interest rates or be able to actually borrow more money. That's not a guarantee, and each lender is different. So essentially, the higher your credit score, the better the chances are of getting a better deal, but that's not a guarantee. You might get the same deal as everyone else. I can't predict the future. Now, if you look at the example that's on the post attached to this video, it would basically show you how much you could save by having a better credit score. And then there's an example for having a poor credit score with a payday loan, and the amount of interest you get on those is just frightening. So have a look at that. That way you can maybe understand it a little bit better. So to generate your credit score, essentially what happens is that any accounts that you have open with lenders, for example, a credit card, at the end of each month, that lender is going to send information to the main credit reference agencies. And then what they'll do is they'll compile it into that number. But it's important to know that there's not only a credit score, but there's also a credit report / rating thing. So a credit report holds all the data, and then the score is the summary of that data. It's really important to actually check your credit report to make sure all the information is on there right, because obviously if the information is wrong and it's bringing down your credit report or your credit score, that's not good. So instead of being just numbers like a credit score, a credit rating is on a scale, so essentially from good to bad. The further you are up that scale, obviously, the better. So even if you have a great credit score, it's important to make sure it's as good as it can be. So I've got a few tips that basically will help you build your credit score and try and make it a little bit better. Now, first of all, you have to make sure you are registered to vote, because lenders generally check the electoral register just to make sure that you're actually who you're saying you are. So your name, your address, age, all of that stuff to confirm your identity. That is very important. Secondly, you have to prove that you can borrow and actually pay the money back. So a great way to do this is to open up a credit card account with quite a low limit, and then make sure you pay this off every month. Now, opening a low credit credit card, quite hard to say, opening a low credit card essentially is much easier to do than a high credit, because there's less risk involved for the lender, because that's all a credit card is you borrowing and then paying the money back at the end of the month. Now, thirdly, you have to make sure you pay back all your debts. If you borrow any money, pay it back on time. If you pay it back late, that's going to show up on your credit report. So just make sure that you are actually paying your money back on time, regularly, especially with credit cards as well, because once you get into credit card debt, it can be very difficult for you to get out of that. If you have any questions about debt, there's going to be a video about debt coming out shortly, both getting into and getting out of. So just make sure you're watching out for that. Also, don't make a crazy amount of applications to lenders or credit card providers. The more applications you make in a short period of time, the worse it's going to be, because to lenders that kind of looks like you're getting a bit desperate for money or trying to get it from anywhere. You want to be really considered, make sure you can actually, get whatever you're applying for. You don't want to just be applying for everything you see. That's just not a good way to go about it. So make sure that you're taking your time, you're considering each application, whether or not it's actually worth doing. Now, if you're not sure if you'll be able to apply for anything, you can ask for a quotation search. If you Google quotation search, that's not going to affect your credit history. So just make sure that you are checking and making sure that you are, not applying for everything under the sun. Now, finally, check your credit report. I've already mentioned this, it's really important. Make sure it's all accurate information on there, because obviously if the information is not right, it will be damaging your credit score. Now, there are lots and lots of agencies that offer credit reports or credit score checks, but you want to make sure that it's one that doesn't actually affect your credit score, because there are some services out there that essentially what they do is they allow you to check your credit reports, but then that goes onto your credit report. So the more you check your credit report, the worse it gets. But there are actually services where you can check it with absolutely no consequences, basically. I say no consequences, that's probably not right, but you can check it as many times as you want without damaging your credit score. So there's a link in the post that goes along with this video. Have a look on that link and you'll be able to find a free credit score checker. Now, if you've got any questions, put it in the comments below. I'm sure I'll do my best to get back to you, or I'm sure there'll be many people out there who are willing to help. Have a look at all the other videos on this channel. Make sure you are learning as much as you can. Hopefully you've learned something here today. My name's been Ben Walker, and I'll see you again next time.